Hello everybody. Once again we find that our Advent season is upon us, and I've been asked to share some thoughts about what really is a very holy season. And this year I find that my reflections are shaped by an experience that I had, in fact, just the other day. It was in the course of a visit to a parish, and I was at that time introduced to two families that had just arrived from Syria, refugee families, who, as we can imagine, would have lived through some rather harrowing times as they had to flee their country for safety and for a new life. Times certainly of great difficulty, but at the same time, times motivated by a real hope that there could be another future, there could be a new life. And when I met the families, what I saw on their faces was a deep sense of relief and a deep sense of hope having been fulfilled. All of their hopes for a new life were starting to come to fruition. Advent is a time of anticipation, it's a time of excitement, it's a time when we get in touch with the hopes that animate our own hearts. It recalls the hope of humanity, of ancient humanity, looking forward to the arrival of a Savior, of a liberator. Hopes that were motivated because God had promised to send such a one. And those hopes, we know, were fulfilled in the gift of Jesus. So God's promise gives birth to hope, and the hope engendered by God is always fulfilled. What that experience of meeting the Syrian refugees reminded me of is the fact that the fulfillment of the hope, while always having its source in God, happens very often through human agency. Because those Syrian families were surrounded by parishioners, by other people who had worked very hard, sacrificed themselves to bring them to this country and to fulfill those hopes. So let's keep that in mind as we enter into this Advent season. We get in touch with our own hopes, indeed for a better life, for a wonderful future. We know that our hopes are grounded on God's promises to His people. We know that God will work to fulfill all of those deepest hopes that He engenders within us. But we also know that the fulfillment of the hope often comes about through the loving, merciful activity of other people. So as we look within our hearts to our own hopes, seek their fulfillment, let's also look outside of ourselves to others who are in need of hope and ask the Lord to show us how we are to be agents of their fulfillment. Agents of mercy, of compassion, and love. Have a very holy season of anticipation and joy in these Advent weeks.